All right, everybody, welcome to Re-Education Camp number 12. Karen, here we are live on YouTube. Well, not live, but you know what I mean. We are on YouTube now. You can find us on here, so please give us a like, click that subscribe button. But I was blown away that we actually got a bit of a shout out from none other than Hillary Clinton on CNN this past week, talking
Yes.
about how all of the Maga extremists are essentially going to be getting on the old re education camp bus for a formal deprogramming of sorts. I wish that the interviewer would have pressed her a little bit and had her elaborate on exactly what she is talking about and what she has in mind. I mean, are there going to be people knocking on our doors if we cast a vote for Donald Trump in the 2024 election, if there's even going to be an election? But how is this going to work exactly? What is this formal deprogramming re-education going to entail?
I believe it was Christina Amanpour was the
Yes.
interviewer with CNN. She said that the MAGA cult followers are going to need I believe she said a formal
Yeah, formal
deprogramming, correct?
deprogramming.
I'm not sure it was official or formal, but formal. So that does sound like something that's going to have government dollars behind it. It does sound like something that's going to, like, how exactly do you deprogram people from
From not liking
thoughts?
a political candidate, essentially.
Yes.
Like, you're not
Yeah.
allowed to like this particular political candidate because I guess he promotes the idea of nation states. I mean, I know that that's a very unpopular opinion to have these days. You know, the concept of individual countries having national sovereignty. I mean, I know we're all supposed to be under this new world order now. We're all just a global community with no borders, and we're all just connected, and we're all going to live happily ever after in peace with one another, right?
Absolutely. And yeah, so you have to wonder what exactly Hillary Clinton and if she's saying this out loud, I think that's the most important part of this conversation. She is going on the record on CNN and saying we need to have a formal reprogramming. And we all kind of should understand at this point that if somebody's saying it publicly, it's already been a conversation that people are having privately, that this is something that has been ongoing. There is strategizing taking place behind the scenes to somehow reprogram people. And it really gets back to, you always hear about thought crimes, where obviously a thought crime is like if you believe something that's a crime, and which is, almost unheard of in our society. But we're getting to the point where if we need to have formal reprogramming, that might actually be something that comes to fruition. So I guess we'll all just be, the buses are coming. Madam Hillary has decided, watch out. You might get a knock on your door and they might say, hey, we know you voted for Donald Trump. Get the hell on the bus. You're going to the re-education camp. They might knock on your door and say, we saw you like that tweet that said that you want to defend, make America great again. Get in the bus. You're going to the camp. So we'll have to just wait and see what that means. I don't know. I part of me, as I'm kind of thinking it, does the formal deprogramming mean propaganda? I mean, I can't imagine it means propaganda. Like, it sounds pretty severe.
I'm picturing like, have you ever seen A Clockwork Orange by Stanley Kubrick, where at the end yeah, exactly, they've got his eyelids opened up and they're putting the
Yeah,
drops
yeah.
in and they're displaying all these horrific images on the screen. That's kind of what I had in mind. And I was thinking to myself, I do a lot of my deepest and best thinking while I'm at the sink doing dishes.
Dishes,
I
great
think
time.
I think it
Shower
has something to do with,
dishes.
yeah, it has something to do with running water, generating this stream of
I I
consciousness.
believe actually, and this is something we're going to get into a little bit later, internet addiction. I actually believe it has a lot more to do with you're just like focused on a task. So you have like uninterrupted time of concentration. But yes, back to your
I think
epiphany?
it has to do with the water, actually.
Okay.
If you want me to be
You're
honest.
like, there's some kind of witchcraft involved with the
Yes,
water. Okay. So,
you
so
know.
what is the epiphany that took place while doing the dishes for Shadow?
Well, it's not really much of an epiphany per
Okay.
se. It's just
Just
I
the
was thinking to myself,
ideation.
I'm thinking, well, what exactly is a MAGA extremist? What
Mm-hmm.
constitutes a MAGA
Mm-hmm. That's a good
extremist?
point too. Yeah.
And it's really quite simple. It's anybody who goes against the narrative, no
Yeah.
matter, if it's about public health, if it's about war. If you step even one toe out of line and go against whatever the narrative is that's being spouted out by the corporate media, which are controlled by the intelligence agencies, well, you're a MAGA extremist. You're on the list. They're going to come knock on your door. You're going to be led on the bus to the re-education camp. And it's really that simple. You don't even have to be somebody who likes Donald Trump to be a MAGA extremist. I mean, people, RFK Jr., he's probably a MAGA extremist. His followers and supporters are MAGA extremists. And really, it's just amazing how they slap that label, that MAGA. Could you imagine "Make America Great Again"? If you would have went back 10 years ago and told somebody that "Make America Great Again" is going to be this controversial slogan that will raise the ire of so many different entities and just regular people, your friends, your family. It really is quite amazing how simple language like that now is so inflammatory for various reasons to different people.
Yeah. And you made a good point about RFK Jr. And I myself am someone who I guess I would fall under MAGA extremists, but I'm not a big Trump fan. Actually, sometimes like part of that conversation Hillary Clinton had with Amanpour was about how Trump is all about himself and that people just like follow him blindly. And there is a part of me that questions. I honestly like sometimes feel like I need discernment. I think to myself, is Trump really trustworthy? Like, should we really be supporting Trump? And there are things about Trump's. He, I have a point to make about that, but there is a part of me that thinks that there are a fraction of people that are blind followers of Trump, where and there really is, but there's a lot of blind followers on the left that just support. They clearly know Biden is an incompetent president, but they'll just get on board with it because it's the program and because it's whatever. And I do think that there is a group of people that worship Trump and cannot like get outside of it. You cannot accept any criticism of Trump.
You mean like
And
crazy Uncle Joe who's like posting memes on Facebook of Trump riding on the back of a Sherman
mhm,
tank with like flexing
yes,
his
yeah,
muscles with a bald eagle
yes,
and
yeah,
fireworks going off in the background? Like, I think that's what a lot of people associate Donald Trump
with
with, like real
with
cringe
people.
boomer. I think that's where a lot of the hatred comes from, actually.
No, I agree. I agree with that. And there is a part of me that thinks that that is pretty cringy, and I do kind of have some concerns for those people. I think that a lot of that has to do with just they've kind of allowed Trump to be their savior, and I think that that's problematic. I think that's not especially Christians, the Christian faith, Donald Trump is not your savior. Like Jesus Christ is your savior. And they've kind of put Donald Trump in, even though Donald Trump has gone on the record for saying that he has nothing he thinks he needs to be forgiven for by God. Like he said that in a church.
It
They
is
asked
kind
him,
of great that it is kind of funny how like a certain faction of people would think like this tacky New York real estate guy has been like ordained by God and sent forth on this mission. But then again, if you look in the Bible, God picks some wild and
wild
crazy
people.
people sometimes to
My,
carry forth his
yeah.
will. So
My late
who
uncle
knows?
Mike was kind of like the spiritual leader of our family. He was a minister and he became one of those Trump people. My mom sometimes rebuked him is the word she used because he was kind of worshiping Trump in a sense. But I think that um my mom is on the fence because we've had this conversation at length where she's 50-50. There's a part of her that thinks Donald Trump might be like a Nebuchadnezzar figure who was a leader of Babylon who God used, even though he wasn't, part of God's chosen people. He was from a pagan background. God still used Nebuchadnezzar. The other part of that 50-50 coin is that he's the Antichrist. So, I mean, a little bit of a toss up
If
going
he
on
is, I
there.
don't think he knows.
Yeah, he might. That's such a good point.
There's so much he didn't know. Like,
that's true. That actually is a really good point. Like maybe his incompetency actually rules him out as being the Antichrist. I think that's a really, really good point.
That's what I think, because like my biggest criticism of this guy is, oh my God, he was so politically naive. He literally didn't know anything about politics. He would bring on the worst of the worst goblins that have been in the system. Your John Boltons, who is that crazy guy who was Jeff Sessions. He was the anti-pot
I knew
guy.
who you were talking about. Yeah, Jeff Sessions.
That was his entire mission in life, to make sure that you wound up in a cell if you had a seed, if you had a cannabis seed. That was the guy's entire passion.
Well, yeah, and like there are people that kind of like that disturbs me that you have Christians out there. And so I'm kind of in that camp where God can use someone who's maybe not a little rough around the edges. I mean, if you look at King David, he was a person that sent his mistress's husband to the front of the battle because he wanted to kill him. Like he was like, I want her. So yeah,
it's a good move when you think about it.
I mean, and this was somebody who was a little like manic depressive if you read about it, and he didn't always do the right things, and there was a lot of struggles. So sometimes, God's people, the person he appoints in power, isn't exactly the person we would choose ourselves, and he still used them for his means. But like, I do see that. I'm okay with that, but at some point, like we need to call a spade a spade. And like I said, Trump has been on the record. He was in a church. I'm addressing this to Christ believing people. Donald Trump was asked, you can find this video. It's not something I made up. He's in a church and they said, is there anything you think you would have to ask God for forgiveness for? And he says, no, I don't think so. I mean, that's stunning. So if you really think that this guy is your savior, you might want to get another savior because he doesn't think that God himself needs to be forgiven any of his actions.
Was he just doing a bit though? Because he is kind of a stand-up. He is one of my favorite stand-ups of all time, honestly.
It was a little shocking, and he is a little bit of a malignant narcissist, or I would say a lot of it of a malignant narcissist. So there is a part of me that agrees with the fact that there are some people out there that will go out of their way to not accept any criticism of Donald Trump whatsoever. But that said, I want to put this out there. I am someone who does not love Trump, but I voted for Trump twice. And right now, just this past week is such a good example of why are we still behind Trump? And just this past week, we heard this article came out and it said that he had given submarine secrets out to a foreign adversary, or that's how the headline read, to foreign actors. Let me explain what really happened. So I'm sorry, that felt like I was like demanding that of you. I just meant like, let me
enlighten me, please. I don't know.
I read this article like Wednesday morning, and this is what I want people to understand about people that support Trump. I voted for Trump twice. I would vote if it was Biden, Trump, I would vote for Trump again. I just want to make that known.
I vote for Joe Biden. I think the country
like, I don't want to go
a better place. It is right
I don't
now.
want to be part of the formal reprogramming. I will vote for Biden.
Right.
I just want it out there so there is a clear record so that there's a reason why I'm part of the formal reprogramming camp. So the reason why people continue to support Trump, I think that Trump is a malignant narcissist. I think that Trump is kind of a con artist. I think that Donald Trump is a little incompetent. I think that Donald Trump would be hell to work for. And I think that Donald Trump is not the best person for office. But why do I continue to support Trump? Well, I see, and why do a lot of people continue to support Trump? And I'm talking about the not the worshipers. We see this article, so I get up and I am like, oh my gosh, did Trump tell our secrets to a foreign adversary or to a foreign group? I'm like, wow, maybe he really does deserve to go to jail. So I want people to understand, even though I'm saying I still support Trump, read this new information and think to myself, oh my gosh, maybe he really does need to get locked up. Then I do a little investigating because I'm like, okay, like what really took place? Well, apparently he told some information to an Australian individual, and the Australians were buying our submarines. And the information that he told them was public information that was released in 2013. So the media completely spun this news as if Trump was it was trending on Twitter the other day. Trump is a traitor. So even though Trump does things that are not good, and things that I don't necessarily support or I'm not happy with, I have to continually support him because the media spin is so outrageous. You've got to get in there and fight for the guy. You've got to sit there and say, yeah, no, because as we all know, and Trump has said this and he's right, it's not his indictment, it's our indictments. If they can do this to Donald Trump, they'll do it to us. So that's why we're in the ring for Trump, is not because we think he's the savior of America, not because I think he's the best guy for the office. It's because your disdain for him is a disdain for all of us MAGA extremists, if that's what you want to label us. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, if you can go out there and say that Donald Trump was selling nuclear secrets, submarine secrets, you can sit there and spin and persecute me and make me out to be, or make my friend or my father or my cousin out to be some kind of extremist. And you lie about who they really are or what really took place, and you manipulate the truth. And it's not necessarily that we support Trump, but I support the truth. And that's why Trump 2024, where we go on, we go all.
Karen, I think that you articulated it. I think that you articulated that perfectly, because it all boils down to this: the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And people need to understand that when you are watching CNN, when you're watching Fox News, when you're watching MSNBC, when you're reading the Wall Street Journal, you are not getting the news per se. You are getting what the intelligence agencies want you to hear, what the military-industrial complex wants you to hear. People need to research Operation Mockingbird, where it is on record that the CIA, the intelligence agencies, are embedded in all of these news networks, and they are putting out there what they want you to hear, what they want you to believe. And people, I think more people than ever before are privy to this now, at least more people than, were more people kind of know what's going on than they did, let's say, 10 years ago, certainly 20 years ago.
Oh yeah. You'll have conversations, and we were kind of supposed to do this at the beginning of the show, but we wanted to dedicate this episode to my mom's late brother, my Uncle George. We talked about my Uncle Mike a little bit ago. He passed away last year. My Uncle George was the OG conspiracy theorist of the family. He would send me emails, as I said, I always would call them from the underground bunker, because he was deep in it. He knew everything before it was coming. He would tell you something and you were like, you're crazy. That's never going to happen. 5 years later, it happened. He was always right. And they even included that in his obituary, like that he knew if he said it was coming, buckle up. It's actually going to happen. And, sometimes he would send me emails and I was a little afraid to open the links because they were like from the dark web. And, it might be some kind of video of adrenochrome drinking Hillary Clinton. So it was a little bit nerve wracking to open those links, but it was always fun to get those emails from him and talk to him. And
you're getting the email. You're like, what is frazzledrip.zip? Should I open this?
I open that? Yeah, pretty much. That was what it was like getting an email from him. But I kind of always really appreciated that he thought of me to send that to me. And I realized, I was thinking about it today, that a lot of people have family, and maybe you're not really that close to them, but I feel like it occurred to me that I was so blessed to have such a special relationship. I have such a special relationship that's so individualistic with so many of my aunts and uncles, my dad and my mom's side. And we have like our own, they kind of have poured into my life and supported me in unique ways, and kind of like, and because your aunts and uncles can kind of you can kind of take from them, and you're sometimes more like them than you are like your parents in different aspects of your life. But yeah, Uncle George was the original conspiracy theorist, dating back forever. And like I said, if he said it was coming, it was coming. But
was he listening to Bill Cooper?
Oh yeah, probably. I would have to ask my mom because he would know. Yes. And I have to say too, I wanted to share this because I brought up my Uncle Mike and I brought up my Uncle George. They were 11 months apart. And my Uncle Mike passed away October 5th of 2022. My Uncle George passed away October 5th, 2023. And isn't that unbelievable that they passed? I really just felt like it was not coincidental and it was really, my Uncle George had lymphoma and had some medical issues over the years. So he had been in and out of the hospital, but he looked really good. And we were really surprised early morning on October 5th. But my mom called me and I said, wait a minute. No. I said, this is the day. This was Uncle Mike's 1-year anniversary. So it was in a strange way, it was like comforting. Like it was almost like, it's like, okay, it's your, let's go home. We're going home together. So,
right.
So yeah, so it's, like I said, it's still sad. And my mom, as my mom said, she goes, her brother Mike was the spiritual leader of the family. And my Uncle George was like the news conspiracy leader of the family. So she's like, I'm working double time as the world is just getting crazier. So, but yeah, so it's nice to have those people. Who's the conspiracy theorists? How did that develop in your life? How did you get into this way of thinking? And by the way, it's not conspiracy theorists, it's truth seeking. We need to assert the language. We are not conspiracy theorists, we're truth seekers. So where did this develop in your life? Did somebody inspire you?
Honestly, it was probably Jesse the Body Ventura. I would just watch videos of him on YouTube from all of his appearances on CNN and Fox News, where he would just eviscerate the hosts and bring up topics that nobody else would touch, like 9/11. And I first learned about the Gulf of Tonkin incident from Jesse. He really taught me to think outside the box. I even had the privilege of meeting him back in 2015 or 2016. He was doing a book signing of his marijuana manifesto book at Rutgers University. And I got to talk to him for a little bit. And I remember the question that I asked him, because at the time I was heavily into Japanese pro wrestling. And I said, Jesse, do you have any memories of wrestling in Japan? And he's like, I remember that they showed Annie Hall on the flight and it sucked. That was
Jesse's... actually so cool. That is
yeah. So cool. Yeah, Jesse the Body did not care too much for Woody Allen's Annie Hall. But no, he was the first guy who really opened up my mind and made me investigate topics like 9/11. I can remember being in my sophomore year in high school, showing classmates like, see, there's no video of a Boeing 757 going into the Pentagon. You can't find it. It doesn't exist. Like Building 7, like how did that fall? It was only no plane struck Building 7. Like I can remember being in high school trying to like red pill my
Pretty early.
classmates.
I feel like that became, I would say post like 2015, that became more of almost an accepted conversation. Not even, and obviously time goes on and things open up, but that early, it was not accepted or
This was
okay to have that
2005,
conversation. Yeah, I would say yeah, exactly.
2005.
So
Yeah.
well, it's good to know. It's good to know. It's good to just pay tribute to those people that are kind of your your Uncle Jesse, not Full House. You have your own
not
Uncle Jesse.
not beautiful John Stamos.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, he's a beautiful man still to this
That's
day.
your yeah.
He's got those genes, man.
But yeah, we wanted to also get into something that's a little bit lighthearted because I know our viewers love. We went a little heavy on, telling you that you're going to be taken away in a bus in a camp, but just this week, yeah, tentatively, we got some news. So you and I have been speculating, kind of behind the scenes. Everybody knows it's like one of the biggest topics in the world, and we're trying to get those big clicks. So Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. Just for all of you who don't know, Taylor Swift is a pop star. She's also potentially a witch. And also Travis Kelce is, and Travis Kelce is a football player who sold his soul to Pfizer. So they are potentially dating, is the conversation, or early stages of a relationship. And Travis Kelce has a mom that is well known in the NFL world because she has two sons that play football. And I guess it was like the first time brothers played against each other in the Super Bowl. I just love the blank stare that you just gave me, like, Karen, not my topic. Yeah.
No, I did hear that was this the latest? The Chiefs were in the latest Super Bowl, right?
I think. I don't know.
Okay, so you don't even know.
The Eagles, I know because I know
it was
my
Eagles
family's
Chiefs, right?
Eagles Chiefs, but
And
I don't
Chiefs
think it
won.
was the last. Was that the last Super Bowl or the Super Bowl before that?
I think it was the last Super Bowl because I remember that I went to see Titanic the night that it was going on. I went to see the re-release of Titanic in 3D, which was, by the way, the best viewing experience of the film that I've ever had. It is just, you're like, evergreen.
Super Bowl. I got more important fish to fry.
Titanic is evergreen as a cinematic in theater experience, but I digress. The latest Super Bowl.
Yes, yeah.
It was the Brothers Super Bowl.
The Brothers Super Bowl. Okay. So that said, Travis Kelce's mom has kind of become a really popular figure in the football world because here's this mom. She's got two sons playing. It's just a deal. It's a lot of fun. She's gotten a lot of popularity. I guess she's slinging some snacks apparently on the news. I saw she's like some kind of, I think her name's Donna. So they're like Donna's bars.
This is so stupid. This whole like just the fact that like the world is, this is what the world is laser focused in on. Right? Oh my God.
You're like, the world is on fire. And they're like, what's in Donna's purse? I want to eat the same kind bars as her.
Oh my God.
Anyways, my husband like has no idea what's going on. That's like one of the best things. Yeah. He's just God like, bless him. If I said Travis Kelce, he'd be like, come again. So, which I love. Like, I just love, like, if I didn't do the job I did, I probably would be like even more detached from reality too. So that's my actual goal in life, is to just not know what's going on. But, so anyways, Taylor Swift was at a game. Travis's mom, Donna, was there. Mrs. Kelce was there. They were photographed together at one game. They were photographed together at a game. I believe it was in the Meadowlands. I think doesn't really matter.
That North
the
Carolina?
Point of the matter is, it's like Newark, New Jersey area.
Yeah. Go ahead.
But the point of the matter is, So there's been photos of Taylor and Travis's mom all over the internet, all over Daily Mail. Oh my gosh, look, she's with Travis's mom. And I texted Collin one of these pictures. And not that I'm a body language expert, as we have confirmed, I'm not an expert in anything, but I am an expert in reading moms' faces. And I noticed that the mom did not seem to, she did not move in Taylor Swift's direction at all. She did not even put her eyes on Taylor Swift. Even when Taylor Swift was right next to her, Taylor would lean into the mom. She would move her body in the direction of the mom. And the mom, the entire time, is completely straight and completely looking all eyes on the game. Now, of course, you could sit there and say, well, she's just really into the game. She really cares about her son. But I have to say, Taylor was really, really trying, I think, to get her to kind of get this movement, like to get some kind of feedback or get some kind of like showing that they're, I guess, close. And that was
This is
the
such a
first
psyop,
game.
by the way. Like
Yes,
this is
yeah,
so
such a
like
yeah,
organized, the whole thing. The
yeah.
mom's probably thinking, the mom is probably so annoyed. Like, what is this bitch doing? Why do I have to put up with this? Why is she here? What is going
Yeah.
on?
Oh
Yeah,
no, the mom was thoroughly annoyed. And so
she
she
knows.
then said so that was the first game. And I think I texted you and I said, what I don't like is that, okay, I've known my mother-in-law for 8 years. We've gone on trips together. I've hung out with her, just with her. Like we've gone all over, like we've gone through a lot together. And like when I first met her, I was not like Taylor is being very like she's going like 0 to 60 like very fast
You
with the
think she
mom.
calls her mom?
Who she would be. She
Probably.
would be like this is like 3 weeks. So yeah, she's probably
Yeah.
at mom at that. I don't really like anybody that is that ingratiating. Like I personally like hate that. And I I just don't enjoy that. And I think it goes along with that whole like manufactured Taylor Swift thing where you feel like she's like phony because she's like trying to manufacture that we're like besties and the mom's not having any of it. So fast forward to next game. Taylor is there and she's there with all of her besties, like some other celebrities, whatever. So the mom really didn't spend a lot of time with her, it looks like at the game, which probably pleased her. And I saw a picture of Taylor with her arm around the mom. I have never put my arm around my mother-in-law's like Taylor's like all her arms completely around her and she gave her a hug when she got there, it looked like. And the mom is like just not even hugging her and not even looking at her. Like there's
You know what's
nothing.
going to happen? The
Yeah.
handlers are going to pull this mom aside and say, "Listen, you you better start acting like you're into this." Like,
Yes, you better. Well, I have a point about that that is part of this conversation. So the mom just looks, which I would feel the same way too. Like for hugging, 2 weeks into knowing you and you're dating my son, I do not want you to hug me. Okay. Like I happen to be not a big hugging person and from a big hugging family. I don't think it's because I think because there's just so many of us that in order to hug everyone when you would leave a party, it would literally take you forever. That's why we have Irish goodbyes where you just
right.
peace out because there's so many freaking people. You can't, my husband hates it. He's like, when the hell are we leaving? If I say we're leaving, it's going to take me another hour and I don't even hug anyone but my grandmother. It just takes
Right.
that long to leave. So we're not big huggers, but to me, it's like because I feel like I really value sincerity and authenticity and not in like a influencer on Instagram way, like in a real way. I I I kind of am very reserved with saying I love you and reserved with hugs. You know what I'm saying? Like they are reserved for certain people in certain situations and like
Because it
like
means something, right?
yes, yeah.
It's not just
I think
something to
yeah.
casually throw. You
Yes.
don't just say "I love you" to, Joe
Yeah.
Schmo.
So for instance, like there are people, so like after COVID and I got really sick, like I hadn't seen people in a really long time. So if I saw someone, like, I think we met up, I may have given you a hug, but it was just more like an extension of like I haven't seen you in a long time. And like it's like, and the world was, everything was like crazy and scary and everything changed. And I had other friends that I would like give them a hug because I hadn't seen them in a long time. Now I have friends that I see more often. I don't hug them every time I see them. I'm like, okay, bye. Like, see you later.
Yeah, I don't
Talk to you
need
next
your
week.
skin
Yeah.
cells all over me.
Yeah,
We don't need to be
exactly.
swapping.
Yeah. I hug my dad when I see him and he'll give me like a kiss on the head. And like there's just certain situations, I think that I get that some people are huggers. But I feel like Taylor is trying to assert herself into this, right? And
Yeah,
that makes
it's like a
me
pesky
uncomfortable.
animal kind of
This
like.
is the same woman who bought a house near the Kennedy compound because she was dating one of the Kennedys for like 3 days. So like it's kind of creepy to me. It's
Maybe
kind of
this is just what
disgusting.
happens. I always say like when you give millions of dollars to children, that bad things can happen, right? Maybe this is just a case of a young girl who got
Who got
too
too
big,
much
too
power?
too
Yeah.
much power. I mean, she is probably next to, it's kind of ironic since she hates Donald Trump, but like her and Donald Trump are probably the two most recognizable figures in the entire world. Where like if you would drop either of them on any street corner in any city in any town in any country, everybody would know who they are. Am I right?
Yeah, I would say that. I would definitely think that that's the case. Yeah. But so there was more that came out of this. There's more from Mrs.
You're
Kelce.
on top of this.
So this is a very important update. I need to do my research for our people on the bus. They need to know what's going on. As we're going to the incinerator, I thought that they
Yeah.
should probably get update on Taylor Swift on the
Yeah.
way to the formal
Well, we're trying to grow a
reprogramming.
community here,
Well, I
really.
mean, it's kind of like what did you say, A Clockwork Orange? So like,
Yes.
in A Clockwork Orange, like I am trying to be like, okay, we can't talk about our MAGA extremism. We have to talk about normal things like Taylor
Like
Swift.
Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce and that
Yeah,
whole
like
deal.
you will assimilate. So Mrs. Kelce then takes a photo with Jake from State Farm at the Eagles game. And I think she was more excited. She looked more happy to be next to Jake from State Farm. I just want to make that observation. That's just a side note. Back to the real, meat and potatoes here. She was on the Today Show with Hoda and Bush Hager, the daughter of the war criminal George W. Bush. So she
Wait, don't you mean the painter, the nice old watercolor painter, Bob Ross guy?
yeah,
No,
you're right.
him.
But so she was on the Today Show, Mrs. Kelce, and they asked her, they were like, so what did you think about being with Taylor Swift? What was that like? And she just goes, well, it was okay. It was okay. And I was like, OMG.
They're gonna
She
snuff her out if she doesn't if she doesn't wise up and start pretending to be into this.
yes.
She's
So
treading in dangerous territory.
So of course the Swifties just chimed in and they're like, she's just a Midwestern mom and she was just, just trying to downplay it and doesn't want to talk about her son's relationship. I'm sorry. She could have said something more like, Taylor's a nice girl. That's all I want to say. She said, it was okay. But here's what I do need to just interject my mom's take on this. So my mom has 5 sons, and her approach when my brother dates someone she is not very privy to is to never let on to my brother that she does not like this girl because she is realized that if she makes this girl out to be a problem or the target,
He's
that
gonna
is
grow more
going to
attached, probably.
yes, he's going to grow more attached or she is going to be emboldened to win over the mom and to assert her dominance and be the winner of the son.
There's
So my
something to be said
mom's,
for this because I mean
yes.
I would probably stick with like one of the Manson family cult members if I knew my mom didn't like it.
Yeah.
There's something that inherently makes you want to go against your parents, even though if you know it's the wrong thing.
Mhm.
And I'm
When you think
familiar
of
with that
someone, yeah.
syndrome when it
When you
comes
think about
to
somebody like
people.
Taylor too, I mean, this girl's written the playbook. She's like a mafia member when it comes to revenge. She's always calculating. So my mom said, Mrs. Kelce, if you don't like her, don't let on. And my mom personally believes they're going to get married now. That's her belief.
Oh, I mean it.
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead.
This
No, no.
no, I think you're right because really there is a part of this whole obsession with Taylor Swift and
There
Travis
really is.
Kelce that is totally dominated by the upcoming election. And I know that that might sound crazy, but I think one of the cornerstones of this Eras tour when it resumes is going to be getting all the kiddies 18 and up signed up to vote. And to vote for whom? Well, whoever the Democratic candidate is, probably Michelle Obama. I'm still in that camp, because again,
Mhm.
DNC's in Chicago. Put two and two together, it's going to be a big homecoming. But her tour and all of this is, in a sense, to prop up whoever that candidate is going to be. I mean, you kind of said it yourself. She's with Mr. Pfizer. This is the joining of the what's the word I'm looking for? Corporate entities coming together, the corporate fascism being portrayed as entertainment.
Solidified. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. As
that's
being
what this is.
normalized, as being,
Yeah,
yeah, just putting a bow on it, just putting a little bit
right,
of a
right.
face to it. No, I didn't realize the tour was going to resume, although I think you had mentioned that in the past, like that it's supposed, when is it supposed to resume?
I know that it's going to be going on again during election year. That's all I know, and I'm telling you, it's going to
So
be
once
like
she
a
gets that
DNC.
ring on her finger from Travis. So, yeah, my mom just believes that Taylor's kind of at that age where a marriage sounds like a good idea. And she has determined that because Travis's mom doesn't seem that excited about her, that'll make Taylor dig in, be more determined. And that's her end game now. If Travis's mom doesn't, wise up and start singing Taylor's praises, Taylor's going to be competitive. That's going to kick in, and she's going to want to get that ring on that finger and shove it in that mom's face. So,
I think that you're going to see the mom on screen pretty soon. She's going to have a little shiner in the corner of one of her eyes because I'm telling you, they're going to grab her and going to say, "Listen, you old bag, you better be smiling. You better act like you are just completely enamored with this woman, with Taylor, or some bad things are going to happen."
yeah, or
That's
one
what
of
I
those
think.
Donna's purse snacks is going to be the last snack you have.
Yeah, and I'm not even joking here. I think that that's how big of a psyop this is and how
Yeah.
much this is going to be used. I know it sounds crazy to say that a pop star's tour and a pop star's personal life is being used to influence the outcome of an election, but I really believe now more than ever that Taylor Swift is going to be one of the cornerstones that the beast system uses to solidify whoever their puppet New World Order candidate is.
Well, we're living in strange times, so I don't think it's necessarily that far-fetched to believe that. And we've seen there's cases in the past where celebrities and musicians and socialites have been used by by the system or by political groups. So, and I think that Taylor is pretty outspokenly against Donald Trump. So I wouldn't be surprised if she wouldn't be on board for that she wouldn't want that. And Travis Kelce also kind of dug his heels in on his Pfizer endorsement. So I think that the two of them are kind of like a match made in,
Globalist heaven.
globalist heaven. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. So there you go. That should just be the title there.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but
Episode 12, Globalist Heaven.
but but yeah, so I think that, like I said, I think that that's pretty much where we're at, where it doesn't sound as far-fetched as you might think it does, because we're living in strange times. We've seen some pretty wild things happen, and I think Taylor would enjoy that. I think that these pop stars, I'm actually a person that believes that football players, pop stars, musicians, actors have every right to use their platform to share their beliefs. I don't think we have a First Amendment. Why should they not also be allowed to share their political beliefs?
That's
I don't
true.
know.
Just because their job, the
Yeah.
way that they make an income is as an entertainer. So does that automatically prohibit them from sharing whatever they want to share in terms of their political beliefs, their beliefs about, how one should live, whatever the case may be? Like why does that automatically prohibit them just
No,
because they have a
yeah.
reach?
Yeah. No, I think just people in some ways, like if you look at like sports players, I think there might be a little bit more of a gray area because they work with a team, they work with like a network, and it can be an issue for the team itself, which is like because there's more corporate nature to it. Whereas Taylor Swift comes out and makes a political statement, it's only affecting Taylor Swift. It's not affecting, obviously, she has a lot of people down the line, right? She has people that work for her. She has people that come out to the stadiums. There's people that are parking attendants. So there's a lot that goes along with that. But ultimately, it's her brand. Whereas you have somebody that plays for the Lakers and they come out and say something might hurt the other players of the Lakers. So I can see where maybe they would ask. I think it should be more of an ask for players. But I really don't like when people like Laura Ingraham come out and they tell LeBron James to shut up and dribble. Like, who the hell are you to tell him to shut up and dribble? And as far as I'm concerned, LeBron James started a school in Cleveland. And listen, I'm not a big LeBron James fan. I'm just looking at this with intellectual honesty. LeBron James has done more for his community than Laura Ingram's ever done for any community. Okay. So, like, just saying,
Yeah.
like, why can't LeBron James play basketball and have political beliefs that are different from yours? Like, who cares? Like, he's the one. Now, we as consumers can sit there and say, I don't want to buy LeBron James's jersey for my kid. Right? Well, that's fine. You have a choice in that matter. Nobody's putting a gun to your head and telling you you need to buy a LeBron James jersey. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's no implication to that. And they take the heat for whatever they express. Now, if I was speaking, and I there is a video of Taylor Swift like talking to her, I think her dad and her mom and like her team, and and she's like, Donald Trump wants to put women in prison or something like that. And Marsha Blackburn wants to burn down Planned Parenthood or, something like that. And women should get paid less. It's a very weird if you watch the clip. Like, it's like the way she starts rattling off the facts sounds so scripted. It was really uncomfortable for me to watch. Um, but we see this conversation that's supposedly a real conversation that wasn't staged with her and her parents. And her dad's like, can you imagine the headlines like Taylor Swift doesn't like Donald Trump? Like, he's trying to like level with her and say, like, no, Taylor, like, just focus on the music. You haven't been political before. And Taylor's like, I need to come out and say this. I need to do this. And like her mom's like, yeah, hon, she does need to do this, and this is
She
what
has
she
to
wants
virtue
to
signal.
do. Yeah. So and I I think if my sister was Taylor Swift, I'd be like, what's the point? Like, who cares? You know what I'm saying? Like, just enjoy your music and do good. And you don't need to get that involved with that politics. You know what I'm saying? Just love and light. But so
Peace
understand,
and
like,
love,
yeah, like,
like
but
Ringo would say.
imagine I think part of it is that the celebrities and the pop stars, like, they do end up getting this huge platform, right? Like, imagine you're Taylor Swift and you have like 100 million followers on Twitter and Instagram, and you see things you're not happy with in the world, And you get to a point where you're like 32 years old and you're like, so my life is just singing these dumb songs and working with an algorithm to find a fun beat. And that's like all I am. But I
You
have
know
this
what?
huge platform.
I think suddenly I'm in the they should keep their mouths shut camp, actually, the more that I think about it, because I'm just thinking about the mass amount of wealth that
Yes.
she has accumulated. And it's like, okay, you are so insulated from the rest of the world. Like, you are incredibly insulated. It really doesn't matter who the president is for you, because you're
For
going to
you.
be
Yeah.
fine either way.
Either
You
way.
don't have
Yeah.
to worry about the price of meat at Publix going up. Like, give me a break.
Yeah, but I think you have to put yourself in their shoes and understand. Now, do I think they should share their beliefs? No, I think they should. I think that I'm just saying, if it was me or I was talking to one of these people and I was giving them advice, I'd be like, who cares? No, like you're going to
Yeah.
sound like you're out of touch, blah, blah, blah. But I think that if you put yourself in their shoes, they wake up one day and say like, "Oh, this is all I'm doing with," and part of it is too, it's an ego thing, right? Like to get that big, you've got to be kind of a little bit higher on the narcissistic scale. So you're like, I'm going to make a difference. I'm going to come out and I'm going to make a difference. And so part of it is not necessarily that you give a crap. It's that you think you can make a difference and you can kind of be a
Corrupt the
force
generation.
for corrupt. Yeah. But in their mind, a force for good. And you feel a sense of fulfillment. So let's also get that out on the table. Celebrities do not share their political beliefs because they actually care. They share their political beliefs because they think that it gives them an ego trip to think that they're going to influence the world. And because it also
Right.
makes them
Look
like
at
you.
what an impact I had on altering the course of this election, for example,
Yes.
which again, this is what they're going for.
Well, look at your beloved
Your bluff.
Leonardo DiCaprio. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
him and the climate
he's
change.
a big globalist.
Like in between, you know, sleeping with 22-year-olds on his yacht and
Hmm.
traveling all over the world wasting fossil fuels, he
Yeah,
gets up
which
on the stage
nothing
and
wrong with that,
yeah,
right? I can get behind some of
I
that.
feel like Leonardo DiCaprio is like the thing I like about girls under 25 is I get older, they stay the same age.
Hey,
I'm like,
if you have that much wealth and you're just sailing around on your yacht and you've got these 22-year-old supermodels kind of now in my case, of course, I'd be after more of the Elizabeth Hurley type. I feel like
yeah.
she gets mentioned at least weekly on this podcast. That's what I'd be after more so. But anyway, go
We
ahead.
should
I'm
just
sorry.
call this the Elizabeth Hurley hour.
Yeah, the Elizabeth Hurley Basic
Hurley
Witch
fan club.
Taylor Swift Power Hour is really what the name of this podcast should be.
Plus some
But
conversation about RFK Jr. and Trump.
yeah, some RFK sprinkled in there, some
Yeah.
geopolitics sprinkled in there. Yeah,
But
sure.
but yeah, so I think that there is a sense that but like Leonardo DiCaprio, I think is a really good example. So Leonardo DiCaprio wakes up and he's 30 and he's like, wow, I have this 22-year-old and all this money and all this, and but like you want to feel like you're doing something important. Like you realize that your job is pretty trivial. Your impact on the world is, I wouldn't say insignificant, but it's not important. You know what I'm saying? It's like when we have this conversation on the show, we started the show with a little bit more of an important discussion. And then we get into the trivial matters
Silliness.
of the silliness of the world, the
Because we have
silliness.
to, otherwise you'll go
And
mad.
yeah, absolutely. But I think that a lot of people like I think that the celebrities, they realize that what they do is trivial, so they get this idea in their head that it's that they need to use their platform for good but really, like I said, it's not because they want to use their platform for good. It's because they woke up and realized that their life is meaningless, empty, and what they do is silly. And in going to the political and interjecting themselves into politics and influencing people makes them feel important and accomplished and fulfilled. And that's actually what they are concerned with. Because at the end of the day, most of them are narcissists. And a lot of people, unfortunately, just the truth, are in that camp might not be the brightest. Also, that's part of the equation.
Yeah.
Saying Taylor Swift is dumb. We've also talked at length about how
A brilliant businesswoman.
yeah, and she's like a mafia boss. So we'll probably end up sleeping with the fishes, but for even having this conversation about her. But so
Sleeping
that's
with the
just
fishes.
sleeping with the fishes. But yeah, so I think my belief is that we should not tell them, like, it's not our place to tell celebrities or entertainers or athletes not to share their political beliefs. They have every right to. It's just, is it the best thing that they can do? Does it really, like to me, it's better for a celebrity to actually like just give back and be like, wow, I was really blessed. Why don't I just go and, start a school or help some kids or do something
Right.
nice, and not necessarily change, decide who the president is. But in their mind, like I said, it gives them a sense of accomplishment.
I always thought that it would be an interesting sociological experiment if we made it where you could not, basically you can't get paid to be a professional athlete. Like there's no way you could make millions of dollars doing this. Like you could only do this as like a side thing that you were
Amateur,
passionate
yeah.
about. So you can run into I think it would be hilarious if you like ran into scenarios where like LeBron is like late to practice because he's at the factory and he couldn't leave the factory early. And like you have like players that have to like go into their work profile to like request off for the Super Bowl because they would all have to have like regular 9 to 5s. And this would just be like a side thing and you couldn't get rich off of it. I think that would be hysterical if like they were all just regular Joes.
Yeah, well, we'd have to wait and see. That's, in some ways, that's the nature of like the Olympics in a sense, because
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a
They're
lot of
just
those, yeah, they don't make, honestly, the Olympics like amazes me. Like that people like spend their whole lives trying to compete in like shot putting. And I'm like, what? Like, why?
yeah, or a
Or like,
cornhole. Like, is that in is cornhole
I
in
have
the
no
Olympics?
idea.
Probably not.
But like you just hear these people and like some of it makes sense because you can get endorsements, but like who really gets endorsements? But like I'm not gonna like almost kill myself so that I can be like the best at like long like long jump.
Right. You devote like most of your life just so you can end up in Beijing,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
getting
And
like a
then like
bronze
you're
medal.
basically done by the time you're 22. Like you're like
Right.
washed up, and maybe you get married to, you have a reality show with the guy who got OJ off, widow, and then you decide to become a woman. So like that's really all you have to look forward to is
Yeah. Good old
becoming Kris
Bruce, man.
Jenner. Or
God bless him.
I just said Kris Jenner, but I realized it's Caitlyn Jenner now.
Yeah. It's
So
Caitlin. Yeah.
Caitlyn,
Yeah.
call her
Caitlin,
Caitlyn. Yeah,
Bruce,
call
whatever.
her Caitlyn Bruce. Tomato, tomato.
I think it's hysterical when you see Caitlyn Jenner like speaking out like against like all the trans stuff. It's so, like she's on Fox News, like we gotta
she's
stop this.
she's like on InfoWars.
Yeah, right.
She's like, this needs to stop,
Yeah,
Alex. We need
yeah.
to
She's in a
shut this
sundress,
down. And she's like raging against, we need to cancel Pride Month this year.
right. There's something
Like in a
hysterical about that.
dress. She like literally looks like the monsters. Like what is it? What's the dad monster's name? I just blanked on it. I keep saying Egg
Herman.
Monster. Herman Monster. She looks like Herman Monster, like in a dress. Like they when they came out with the magazine, like when she was on the cover of Vanity Fair, they did a lot of like selective editing and posing and like airbrushing. But anytime you see like she looks like an ogre walking around in a dress when you see the paparazzi pictures. It's just really, I guess, just interesting.
It's fitting with the times that we live in. I
Yeah.
think it's very
Yeah.
fitting.
Yes. But we were going to talk about, I just think that it's, I think we should save this topic for next time, our internet spectrum
Oh
addictions for a
yeah, because we
segment.
can probably expand
Yeah.
upon that a lot. But
Yes, yeah. So I think that's a good one. And we wanted to talk about tragic millennials. Are you a tragic millennial? So I think that's something maybe it's a little evergreen topic. So we
yeah,
can, and then maybe give us a little Travis Kelce update next time. So and
yeah, it's
always something about Trump. Yeah. Yeah.
probably a
Yeah.
good place to wrap up this week's episode. Then I think.
Yeah. I think the only thing I want to add, because I feel like I owe this to the audience to share. Yesterday, I had a pumpkin spice cappuccino, different from a
And
pumpkin spice latte. So I didn't know what I was ordering, as per usual when I go there. And so I went to Starbucks in Lower Bucks in Bucks County, and I said I
give
would
the
like,
address of it out, Karen. Like, just
yeah,
give
I
the
don't really
exact
mind because I'm not
location.
from there. I was in Yardley, Pennsylvania.
Okay.
And that's okay. I don't live there. And no one I know actually lives in that zip code. So come
I
and
live
find
in the
me.
Magic
I,
Kingdom,
w-
like
I
in
can't
Main
afford to
Street.
live there. I live
I'm like right on Main Street in the
next to
Magic Kingdom,
Mickey.
in one of
Yeah,
the shops, like right above.
110 Donald Duck Drive.
Yeah, yeah, that's literally where I am right now.
I
But
can't
go
afford to live
ahead.
in Yardley. So I basically live in a burned out strip mine is essentially where my my
Well, you're a
property
breaker boy.
is.
That is
I
your
am a
main
breaker,
source of income.
but
Let's
I identify as a breaker boy.
That should be a
This
box
is
that you check. They
what
should
is
add that, like breaker boy, Molly
when I go
McGuire.
find out. Yeah.
I identify as one of the Molly
Caucasian,
McGuires.
Polynesian, breaker boy, check. So
Yeah.
I was there and I ordered what I actually ordered. I said, can I please have a cappuccino with pumpkin spice? And I kind of meant, I didn't know what I meant by that. I meant like cinnamon, nutmeg, like the spice, the syrup that they
You
pump.
wanted some basic witch stuff sprinkled in your
Yes, I
coffee,
wanted some
basically.
basic witch sprinkled in my cappuccino. So I get the drink and I sip, and it literally tastes like a real pumpkin. Yeah, yeah. So it was like real pumpkin. I was like, what
Was
the
it
heck
sweet?
is this? It was sweet too. It was a little acidic though, because pumpkin's like a little acidic. So it had a very earthy pumpkin taste with the spices and the sweetness. So I would describe that more as a pumpkin pie. Like I want a hot cappuccino with pumpkin pie, not I
Okay.
want I want a cappuccino with pumpkin spices. You know what I'm saying? That's what I thought I ordered. And as I was sipping it, I realized it was like literally orange. Like I was like sipping part of a jack-o'-lantern. So it was
Hmm.
so I think that's kind of what the pumpkin spice latte is like. And then I was like kind of upset because I was like, I vowed to drink like a pumpkin spice. I'm like, am I cheating now? Because I said I would do it on the show. And now here I am
Wow.
drinking this orange cappuccino.
This doesn't sound like your traditional pumpkin spice latte that you were
Latte.
drinking, though. So I'm
Okay.
going to say that it doesn't count.
Okay.
Yeah, we need to plan. We need to do like a special Halloween episode of
Yes.
sorts,
Yeah. Yes. Season of
where
the Basic Witch.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah, season of the Basic Witch. We should probably start planning that right now, honestly, after we get off here.
Yeah. All right. Well, we will do that and we'll see you all next time. Go ahead.
Yeah,
Sorry.
no, listen, thank you everybody for joining us on YouTube now. Can you believe it? 12 episodes in on the humble little podcast here, Re-Education Camp. Please give us a like, click that subscribe button. You can also watch us on Rumble, listen to us on there, subscribe to us on there. And like Karen said, we're going to be back here next week with lots more fun, lots more goings on in the world. I'm sure we'll have more Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce, Donald Trump, everything to talk about. So, again, follow us on YouTube, give us a like, and we'll see you right here next week on the Re Education Camp.